Midweek Connection. I trust that all is going well for you as we begin this brand new year. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was sharing with me about something he heard a fella say when someone asked the question of him how he was doing. And I think, how would you respond to that question if somebody asked you that? Well, when the person asked him that question, this guy's response was, "Fantastic, I'm going to heaven." I love that response. I just thought it was so cool. It made me laugh when my friend was telling me this story. And I kind of wished I'd thought it up myself, but glad to give somebody else credit for it. It's a really good response. I like it, first of all, because folks wouldn't be expecting that kind of response. And secondly, it would sure be one that they would have their attention caught by, and they would probably do some thinking about it. I know that I did when that person said it to me. I'm going to heaven. Wow, what an optimistic perception he had. But shouldn't that really be the response that we as followers of Jesus should be giving? One of my favorite books is written by a guy named Randy Alcorn, and it's just simply called Heaven. And what Randy Alcorn did in his book was he talked about heaven from a biblical perspective. And, you know, it really gave me some beautiful insights. And I would just highly recommend that you pick that book up, and you can, it's old now. I read it several years ago. I'm going back through it again. But you could go on Abe Books or something like that and pick it up probably for just a few bucks. But it's a great read, and it is one that really gives us a tremendous perspective on heaven. Part of the reason I think it's good for us to do that right now is because it's so easy to get focused on the here and now. And if you get focused on the here and now, that can get pretty depressing. You think about all the stuff that's going on, there's a lot of difficult things happening, and it feels like we can't fix the problem. And so for us as followers of Jesus, I think it's really important for us that we get the focus of our worldview correct. And Randy, in his book, says something I think that is really important. He quotes Colossians 3:1, which says this: "Set your heart on things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God." This, he says, is a direct command to set our hearts on heaven and to make sure we don't miss the importance of a heaven-centered life. Whoa, a heaven-centered life. The next verse says, "Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things." Randy says God commands us to set our minds on heaven. And he goes on to say, to long for Christ is to long for heaven, for that is where we will be with him. Hebrews 11:16 says, God's people are longing for a better country. We cannot set our eyes on Christ without setting our eyes on heaven, and we cannot set our eyes on heaven without setting our eyes on Christ. And that's the focus that we should be taking as followers of Jesus. Jesus is in heaven. Heaven is absolutely then going to be a wonderful place. And we need to think a lot more about heaven than we're thinking about what's going on earth. And one of the things I know for me is that if I will take time to really think about the Lord, and I'll take time to think about heaven, then it seems like all the stuff that's going on here really isn't that important. When you think of our lives in the dynamic of the here and now, compared to eternity, this is only a blink. This is only a blink of the eye. And for us as followers of Jesus, we need to remember that he's told us that he's going to prepare a place for us. And you know, it seems like it's taken him a long time to get that place prepared. But you know what? It seems to me like he's doing a mighty fine job. And that's got to be spectacular. But wherever Jesus is, that's got to be fantastic. And so when we think about this, we need to remember that we need to be this. The verb that's used in this scripture denotes the idea of being diligent, active, and single-minded as we think of things that are above. And I think he makes a really good point there. So, what have you been doing daily to set your mind on things above and to seek heaven? Have you really even thought about it lately? You talk to most people, and most people haven't, unless they lost a loved one or something like that. But generally, we don't tend to do that. And so I'm thinking, okay, let's get started. And what a great way when somebody says, hey, how are you doing? We respond by saying, fantastic, I'm going to heaven. Oh, I dare you to see what the response would be from that person. And you know, if you got somebody thinking about it and they came to know Jesus because you spoke out like that, wow, wouldn't it be worth it? I believe that it would. Well, I hope that puts a smile on your face and some encouragement in your heart today. Spend some time today looking at maybe some passages that talk about heaven. Think about heaven and think about Jesus being there and how wonderful that is going to be someday. Well, I hope you have a great rest of this week. Saying to you, God bless, happy trails, and stay narrow.